Hello and welcome to Tempo Check, baby. Episode 2 coming at ya. I'm your host, Catherine Niker.
And I'm your other host, Freddie Rivas. Tempo Check, episode 2 coming at you. Buddies, friends, follow us on YouTube and Instagram at the Pickup WNBA podcast. This is our second Tempo episode. We're coming at you on Boxing Day, and we've actually recorded a little bit earlier. And of course, we're gonna keep building the story of how we came to be here. But I think, Catherine, we're gonna start with a little bit of breaking news, which may not feel like total breaking news on Boxing Day because it's been out for a while. But Catherine, I'll let you take it away.
Listen, the jerseys came out. We know what the jerseys look like. A lot of people got opinions. And you know what, Freddie? People want to know what we think.
Mm-hmm.
People were in my DMs. They were giving me their opinions. They want to know our opinions. They want to know, what do we think of this jersey. So they revealed the jersey on December 16th. They had a big thing at the mall at the Eaton Center. For people outside of Toronto listening, the Eaton Center is a gigantic mall and like really a mainstay of downtown Toronto. So it's not nothing to have like a huge display there. And they had the tree light up in their colors, and they have this gigantic tree there and all of that stuff. I think the okay, I have a couple things to say about the jersey off the top. So there were some promotional photos that were taken, and I guess the photos are generally fine, but I don't know what they did to the editing of these photos, but the colorway looks completely off. Like, I thought the jerseys were maroon and gray when I first saw these photos, and I was asking other people if they thought the same thing, and they all said yes, they thought it was maroon and gray. So it wasn't just me seeing things. And then I saw Sephora, which is one of the sponsors of the team, release a video, and other people, and then I realized, oh, it is the burgundy slightly purple hue and the light blue on the jersey. It's just these promotional photos really tinted it dark and made it look totally different. So I think there was a bit of confusion over the color, which is not ideal for a launch, but nonetheless, it is the team colors. It says Toronto on the front. It's got a number on the front, and then it has a CIBC logo, which is a bank here in Canada. And people have been complaining that the size of the logo of the bank is larger than the words Toronto, larger than the word Toronto, larger than the city itself. And people have critiqued it, saying it looks like a walking billboard for CIBC. And I don't know if the team actually has a say in the size of the logo or not. I assume these things are negotiated. And that, I don't know, but I assume these things are negotiated. I don't think that was like a purely design choice. You know what I mean? That feels like a corporate decision rather than a design choice. But okay, Freddie, I've said a lot. Freddie, what do you think? And how do you feel about the criticisms that people have been saying overall?
So the criticism that I feel like hits with me the most is the size of the CIBC advertising. It just really, it sort of looks like the Toronto CIBCs,
Right.
and I don't like that. But Chelsea Late, friend of the Pickup, and soon to be friend of the Tempo as well, Tempo reporter, also said that she tweeted out, in this era where we're hoping that the players make a lot of money, part of making a lot of money is these endorsements and having ads on the jerseys. So I think that's just part of sports now. So in that respect, I don't think it's like, I guess I'm kind of used to it.
Right.
However, when I think about a piece of clothing, I don't want to wear a piece of clothing that's a walking ad. Like, I've always been that way. I don't really like I love wearing clothing where you don't know what company it is.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry,
but
if
that
you know, you
also
know, but like there's not, they don't have like they don't have writing that's like
you mean
I'm
a
the guy.
logo, like a giant logo.
Yeah, I'm not a big logo guy.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing too is, I mean, it's a very fair point in terms of like the players wanting to earn more money, but earning more money is also selling jerseys.
That's a good point. Maybe they're gonna
Right? Like
sell a
you
bunch of
want
jerseys.
to sell jerseys. You don't want to just have a logo that people see. So I think like
Hmm.
maybe I personally think like there's nothing wrong with the logo being there because you're right, this is just a part of sports now, but I think it could have been designed differently and placed differently. Like a lot of jerseys will have a logo in the top corner by the shoulder. And I think that's really significant because when you're watching basketball and you get a lot of those medium shots like at the free throw line, etc., the logo is in clear view when you're watching the game, where this is like on the lower torso. And it's like, you see it because you see it as an image online. But if you're watching a game, that's not going to be as visible as it would be smaller on the shoulder. So I feel like that placement would satisfy a lot more criteria personally.
Here, here.
But
I Yeah.
yeah, and then in terms of the colors, like the burgundy and light blue, I actually really like. I was a bit off about it at first a year ago when they first showed us the logo and
I
the
like the
colors.
colors.
Oh my god, that was loud in my ear. But anyways, that's not your fault. Um Yes, I've grown to really like the colors. I didn't like the colors initially because I just didn't feel like they went with the word tempo. Like they don't scream like energetic to me. They scream more like academic, perhaps. Where
Hmm.
I hear the word tempo and I picture like more energetic colors, like a lime green accent color or something to that effect. But it's grown on me and I really like the color combination now. And I'm looking forward to buying merch for this team. I don't typically wear jerseys because they just feel very boxy on me,
Yeah.
but I don't hate the jersey in terms of its look. I actually like the jersey in terms of its overall look. It was just the logo and the size of it, really, for me.
I'm gonna be more of like a tempo merch guy versus like actual jerseys. I will probably get a tempo jersey because it's like an opening season thing, and just even for this podcast sort of thing, I will probably get it and put it behind me. I like, but by the way, I looked up the names of the colors because this is me nerding out a
Oh,
bit,
love that.
but it's uh Bordeaux is like the wine color,
Yeah, yeah.
and then hydrogen blue is the blue color. And I think for
Oh.
me, my perfect version of this
I well,
jersey,
you should have given. I need that info for our logos, so
yeah,
I
yeah.
have the right colors. But anyway,
Ooh, okay, we're pretty close. We're pretty close.
this was
Um,
my best guess. Yeah,
I mean, it's a good one, but
we'll
you know
do it.
what?
We'll do it for episode 3. We're
Speaking
starting
of
out.
speaking of your best guess, this is my ideal jersey. I think the hydrogen blue should be the dominant color, and the
Mm.
font should be the Bordeaux.
Yeah,
That
I would like that too.
that's my kind of like perfect looking jersey.
Yeah, when
I
I
do
yeah.
also sorry, I was gonna say I do also love the I mean the explanation of it, like, oh, we're the six and the tempo, is a little bit like, okay, chill out. But I really do like the six lines on the side. Like
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah, for
I
sure.
think that to me it just looks cool.
Yeah, I do like the lines on the side as well, and that's a great point about being the 6, etc. I when I first saw those pictures where the jerseys looked maroon and gray, my first thought was I missed the blue. Like,
Mhm.
that was the first thing I thought. I was like, "I really miss that light blue because this hydrogen blue, because I feel like this is a really sharp color that you don't necessarily see in a lot of jerseys." So, that was the one thing I really liked, and I bet that they'll do a blue version of the jersey. Right now, it's the Bordeaux, and which I'm gonna call it from now on, the Bordeaux, and a white dominant jersey. But I could very easily see them doing a hydrogen blue dominant jersey. A lot of teams have 3 jerseys. So that would be the natural progression there.
And in the year 2025, 2026, we've gone so far from having like just 3 jerseys. There's going to be special event jerseys. There's going to be
6 city jerseys, like
yeah,
special
exactly.
edition. Yeah,
There's
yeah.
going to be so many different types of jerseys that uh there will be a sort of
There's
customizable.
going to be a Hello Kitty jersey.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a throwback for anyone from that's listened to the pickup forever.
Yeah.
When I was like practically yelling at you over Hello Kitty. But anyway, I don't know why that came to my mind. That was like a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway,
Throwback.
last year, Cameron Brink, she does a pod, or I can't remember if it's her own or she was guesting on a podcast, but she was talking about wearing white, like while playing, and how it's really annoying to wear white, especially shorts on days that you have your period, because nobody wants to wear white shorts on those days, and then you have to play basketball. Oh, my heart felt for her so much. I was like, "Oh my god, that would be my literal nightmare." And I never thought of it because I don't play basketball. I just never thought of it. Like I know I'm not wearing white pants on those days, but I've never been told you have to wear white pants or shorts in this case. You know what I mean? I would be layering up so much under those shorts. People would be like, "Wow, Kyle Lowry's butt is here." Like that is how much I'd have to layer up under those shorts. So anyway, I point it out because this is real shit here, you know? This is real stuff us young women have to go through. So I saw the white jersey and it reminded me of Cameron Brink talking about this. So I'm sure it won't come up and I'm sure everyone will just wear it or whatever. But I was like, man, it would be nice if they paired that white jersey with a Bordeaux short. Thank you for coming to Tempo Check. Hope you continue to listen to this podcast.
Yeah, you need to know about white shorts and periods.
Yeah, and frankly, this is who we are. We are not. We're gonna give it to you unfiltered, you know, and I don't mean that in a shock jock way. I just mean like in a genuine way.
Yeah, you're getting it unfiltered.
Thank you. I feel like the very early days of this podcast, I would complain about my own cramps too. I don't do that anymore. Have you noticed?
I haven't noticed, but I'm happy for you.
Oh gosh. Okay, we should move on. Last week we talked about letting any new listeners that are coming to us via the Tempo Check to learn about our journey with this podcast, with the Pickup WNBA podcast and how we got to be where we are today. And we want to talk to you guys about the time we got to interview Justin Trudeau.
Yes. So we got to interview the Right Honorable Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. And it was a weird scenario, but it was really pivotal in the origins of this podcast. So we were doing the pickup. Obviously, we had gotten the credentials from the preseason game, and the week before, we got the amazing news. Actually, a friend sent me the news who had it in with CBC in the middle of the night. Like my baby had pooed, and it was changing a diaper at like 3:30 a.m. and I went online and had a Facebook message. Shout out Ryan Hines, and Ryan was like, "Hey, so at 6 a.m. they're gonna announce that Kilmer Sports, who's a former owner of the MLSE, the Toronto ownership group, has put together his own company, and he's bringing the Tempo to Toronto." So obviously this was massive news. So me and Catherine are reeling from that. And then fast forward a week, I get a call and a message from Catherine, and I'll let you take it from there, Catherine.
Yeah, so essentially, this is crazy. So the Prime Minister's press secretary, shout out to Mo messages me in my Twitter DMs and was like essentially like, hey, I work with the prime minister, I'd love to speak with you. And I first was like, this has to be spam, like there's no way, right? But then I looked at his profile and he had a lot of news outlets following him, as well as a friend of mine who's a reporter. So I messaged her, and we don't know each other super well. We like have a mutual friend that we kind of know each other from. But I had her number because we were like bridesmaids in like the same wedding party. And I was like, hey, Christina, this is Catherine. This is really random, but can you tell me if this is the prime minister's press secretary? She calls me. She replies to the text with a phone call and goes, oh my God, Catherine, that is him. What is going on? Oh my God, right? Like freaking out. And then I tell her, and she was basically like, do you realize people spend their entire lives trying to have an exclusive with the prime minister and you've just been handed one? And I was like, this is insane. So then I messaged Freddie and I am like, we don't emergency message each other. I think that's a fair statement. But I was
Yeah.
like, I mean, maybe you remember more, but I was essentially like, Freddie, you need to call me right now. And I'm pretty sure it was like a holiday Monday. It was like Victoria Day.
Yeah. So, me and my partner were at that point we were trying to like put our baby in the crib. We were actually just starting the crib process, so it was very touch and go. So it's sort of like I remember like lying on the ground near where we were trying to put my baby to bed, and I'm like, oh man, this is uh Caitlin. I gotta give Catherine a call because yeah, we don't deal in emergency. Basketball doesn't really speak. It doesn't really like that's not our vibe. But anyway, so I called Catherine, and the first thing she said to me was like, do you think this is spam? Like, and I see the email, and I'm like, man, this looks like really good spam, right? Like, this is spam for sure because it simply can't be true, but it seems like really good spam, and then we start to look up his name, and it's so all the things are kind of lining up, and there's a big amount of like we feel like we're the right people, obviously, right? But there's this imposter part where it's like it's a little bit of like why us, right? You have these major newspapers in Toronto, like the Globe, the Star. You have all these major sports
All the national outlets.
outfits like TSN, Sportsnet. Like it's just there's a lot of really prominent people. So, um, you know, but then we start to say to each other like, "Hey, we were the first people really kind of like recording
We were the
WNBA
first
podcasts
people
in Canada."
covering the W extensively in Canada. Extensively.
Yeah, like exactly. Obviously, lots of writers and lots of talented people, but we were at the pod game for a while, so we were like, I guess that's why. And then, I have to say this joke because I've said it a million times, and it just feels right now that we have a new prime minister. I've said like as soon as I realized that Trudeau wanted to be on our podcast, I had to throw out a self burn and say that uh, the moment that he wanted to do our WNBA podcast, I knew that his run at being one of the longest prime ministers in Canadian history was about to come to an end. I just no offense to our podcast, no offense to our beautiful podcast, but I just knew that there's a sense of desperation there, and I'm like, hey, I love Catherine, I love myself. We got a good thing going on here, but if the leader of Canada wants to do our podcast, something has gone wrong for him.
No, no, no. Well, okay. Mo, as press secretary, was getting Trudeau to do a bunch of different podcasts because he was trying to get him more exposed to non-traditional media. So it
Yeah,
wasn't just our it was not just our podcast. He was
I know.
on a
I'm just kidding.
bunch of other
It was
shows.
like a charm offensive, and yeah, I think like once things started rolling, they were moving fast, and uh Catherine, jump in here, but I also love to tell this story because there was so many fun things in the lead up to the interview, And Catherine's correspondence with Mo and then with others was so fast, so intense. We got Michael Mongliardi, who just got married to Mariana Manitis.
Yes, our sonar team.
Yeah, congrats to them. And Michael was like, "Hey, we need you to come and record." He's like, "Okay."
That was also a really funny meeting, was to tell the Sonar Network what had just happened and seeing this shock on their face. Like, I got to shock like multiple people with this.
Yeah,
news.
he's like, "My mom loves Trudeau." We're like, "Great." Well,
all our moms loved Trudeau.
Yeah, and he shouted at our moms on the pod, so straight up.
We did, yeah.
Yeah, so there's also very, very fast correspondence, and a big part of it was like, how fast can you set up? We're going to record in a separate room. How fast can you set up
at Hotel X?
At Hotel
X. So there was a press conference at Hotel X, and then his team got a separate boardroom for us to do this podcast.
That's right. And the press conference was the announcement of the tempo, right? So, and some big people there. There was obviously Larry Tenenbaum and Kathy Engelbert and Olivia Chow, Doug Ford, right? So it was a really huge room, and so we were gonna get kind of squirreled away and put in a room with Justin Trudeau, and so they wanted things to move fast. So they said to us, "Hey, what's your setup time?" So Catherine asked Michael. So we said, "Hey, okay, we set up in like 20 minutes." She gets an email a little bit later that day. It's like, "Okay, can you do 15 minutes?" So
I think it was like, "Can you do it in 5?"
Well, okay, here's how I remember it, because it kept shortening. It was like, you get this email that's like, "Can you do it in 15?" And you message me and you're like, "Can we do it in 15?" And I was like, "Just tell them, yeah, like we're gonna try to go as fast as we can." And then you get another email that's like, "Okay, can you do it in 10?" And you're like, "Yeah, whatever." And then that day, when we met with someone from the team, they said, "We heard that you can do it in 5 minutes." And this is why I love Catherine, and we're such different people, because I would have just sort of had some kind of like anxiety attack and been like, "Oh yeah, whatever, we can do it," and like tried. But Catherine, in this big moment, she sort of had the gall to go to this person and say, like, "We're gonna go as fast as we can," but I never said that. And the person was like, "Oh, well, like I heard that." And Catherine's like, "Well, I never said that." And I just remember being like, "We're about to interview the prime minister," and Catherine's like, "You don't say that. I never said that." And I'm like, "This is so awesome! Like, you're a badass." Like, it was just a cool moment where I was like, "This is really awesome," because yeah, they were kind of rushing us, and you weren't having it.
Well, I mean, what's the point of doing it if we can't set up properly, right? Like,
here.
But you know what? It's true that I am very not intimidated by people like that. I'm also a very like honest and literal person. At times it's weirded people out for sure, and I don't notice until later, because I think I don't know. I don't know if it's the ADHD of it all, or it's just me. Like, maybe it's just me, but I've had other moments where people have been like, "Wow, like you really said that to that person," and I was like, "Well, yeah, because it's just the truth, But I think really powerful people respect you more when you stand up to them, and you're not rude or anything like that. But I learned that pretty early on working in the film industry. Like, I mean, not to go too far aside, but I used to work with some very intimidating people, and I learned pretty early on that if you don't stand up to them, they don't respect you. And so I think that's why I wasn't shy to do that.
Yeah, and they don't respect me.
Stop.
So
No, they did respect us. In fact, like, it was really cool to see the prime minister being briefed. Also, we had to call him the prime minister. We couldn't call him Justin Trudeau at that time. You had to refer to him as the prime minister.
Yeah,
like
the right honorable prime minister.
Yeah, as if that is like his name. But he was being briefed, and then he comes into the room and he's like, "Freddie, Catherine, so nice to meet you." Like, It was so funny. Like I didn't expect him to like know our names like that. You know,
Yeah, it was wild.
it
Like
was very very profesh.
seeing someone surrounded by 8 people telling them things, I was like, "This is pretty nuts." And, I mean, what blew me away is like, okay, maybe, you know, like, maybe he really did listen to our last episode, like, maybe, but also, I just can't believe he had the time or care or whatever, and again, not knocking our beautiful podcast, but still, right? He's a prime minister, and I was still, though, impressed, even if someone told him 30 seconds before he saw me, the first thing he said to me was, "I really loved your last episode." The moment where you talked about realizing that you had a podcast when your son Remy, is it? That's my son's name, pooed in the middle of the night, and you found out, and then he's
He
like, "I
did
just."
not say all that.
He's like, well, it wasn't like it wasn't that detailed, but it was like he spoke to that moment in the podcast. So it's like it's like he listened to that minute or 2 minutes or whatever it was, but he spoke to it with like such an understanding where I'm like, I don't know who briefed you or whatever, but you're so familiar that
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Really strong team. Of people, honestly. Like everybody that we spoke to was really nice. Mo was our point person. He was excellent. And yeah, he also like bantered with us before we started. This is the one thing that maybe I want to reveal about Trudeau that maybe people don't know is that when he was bantering with us before we started, and Michael is setting up as we're having this banter, by the way, because of the time issues, like you spelled out, he was very relaxed. He was very dry, sarcastic, witty, wasn't afraid to make jokes. He was like a really cool person. And I was like, whoa, this guy's awesome, you know? And then the
Mhm.
second we sat down and started recording, he like immediately went into like prime minister mode, and like the cadence of his voice changed. Like I feel like as prime minister, he had a very like distinct cadence in the way he spoke, and it was like his that voice was turned on. He was more upright, and it was like, you know, he switched on, almost like an actor switching into character. I'm not saying he's completely fake, but it was almost like he couldn't let that side of him show. And I actually
Mm.
thought like, oh, that's a bit of a shame because this side of you is so likable that it would really help the country like you more if we did see this side to you more. But maybe it's like a situation where it's like you just can't say the wrong thing when you're on and stuff like that. Like I imagine as a politician, you have to be pretty careful, like even more careful than most in terms of what you say. So maybe that's just part of it. But I was like, man, this like sarcastic, witty banter person, it'd be really cool if the country got to know that Trudeau
Hmm.
more.
Yeah, no, I found him pretty natural, and I think, um, I don't want to go long here, but just a couple things I'll say that really struck me from that interaction was uh, that they told us that they weren't going to edit our questions, and they didn't, and they told us that we had like a
They told
certain
us
amount.
it was unethical for them to
Yeah,
edit our
and
questions.
they also told us that they were gonna have to keep things pretty tight, and they would like flag us at 20 minutes, and like we did 30 minutes, and really it was sort of it didn't feel like we were being rushed, and in fact we were even invited to a second location where we went to a like a all
Another
girls
event, yeah.
basketball camp in Brampton. So and just like a couple fun little details too. I was like, this is wild. One was they're like, yeah, this whole day is built around um him not missing his daughter's recital. So like he has
In
to
Ottawa, in
in
Ottawa.
Ottawa, so he has to fly back to see the recital. So I was like, wow, this is hilarious how much it's like how key that part of his schedule is. Like he cannot miss his daughter's recital. I'm like, that's pretty huge.
Yeah, and
Uh,
also he didn't eat. Like he skipped breakfast, we found out. And for anyone who doesn't know me, I'm half South Asian, and the South Asian side of me really just wanted to stop everything and feed him. I just don't like not I just don't like people around me not being fed. It's like visceral. Like it's just like, I eat and then extra rice gets put on my plate and I don't have a say in it. Like it's just that's how you eat in my family. You know what I mean? And then I remember being so hungry that day because we met like at Starbucks pretty early in the morning, like I want to say like 7:30 or so. And then we didn't get to wrap and like actually eat something till around like 2:30, 3 p.m. And he probably went that whole day until he was like on the plane to Ottawa without eating.
Yeah, we ended up pounding some Wendy's, and I bet you he pounded some Wendy's too.
Somewhere. I mean, it was just like, I was like, this man is running the country on an empty stomach. I don't like it. I was like,
Yeah,
listen, if I was a member of his team, it's like just get a smoothie or something, like something easy that he could just have on the go. Like you can't just be running a whole nation with no food in your belly. Like
Mark Carney would never.
I can't. I bet he skips meals too. These
He
skinny
pounds brisket in the morning. I know he does.
these skinny ass liberals, man, just not never eating.
Well, hey,
Anyway, if
chapter
I was a member of that team, I'd make sure everyone was well fed. That's all I'm saying.
here.
We should wrap it up there. Everyone, listen. This is coming out on Boxing Day. I hope you all enjoy your holiday, enjoy your New Year. We're going to be back with the pickup. I believe we said Jan 8th. Is that correct?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, January 8th is going to be our next episode, and then we will be back to our regular schedule. So, thank you again, everyone. Please like, follow, leave a positive review for this podcast if you have a second on Apple or Spotify. That always means so much to us. And yeah, all that good stuff. Follow us on socials at the Pickup WNBA Pod. Freddie, I'm stepping over your gig here. You're always
No,
better.
I
You're
love it.
always better with the social media shout outs than
No,
I
it's all
am.
good. You got us covered. And I think just reminder to everyone that we're sort of building up, some of the like chronological stuff that has led us to this podcast. But anything, like when new stuff happens, we'll be covering that as it happens as well, such as like, when we get a CBA agreement, when we get a roster, and we're going to sort of flesh that out as we get closer to the hopeful season. So go Tempo. And thanks for supporting the Tempo Check, the pickup, and giving us some love. Hope everyone had a great 2025.
Absolutely. Take care, everybody. Chat soon.
Peace.
Bye.